Sometimes I lose my patience by Inelia Benz for Ascension 101. Warning! The next 4 paragraphs are filled with what is going on in the alternative and main media outlets. But bear with me, it will all become clear from the 5th paragraph on. The past month or 3 has seen a flurry of end-of-world predictions, with the accompanying saviors. Apparently, we have avoided 2 major world species annihilations thanks to the dedicated work and organized world meditations by ultra-dimensional beings and their followers. Oh, and apparently they have ensured we will wake up and evolve more for the next year due to their diligent work. Thank you! We are not out of the woods yet, apparently, as yet another scheduled end of the world comes up in about a week from now. And it doesn't matter if you're reading this in 2015 or 2017. It's very likely there is a scheduled end of the world scenario every month for the next several years or decades. And at least 3 spiritual teachers have fallen off their pedestals by exploiting their followers sexually, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes financially too. There are now dedicated sites stating that all spiritual advancement, empowerment sites, and teacher are bullshit, and their followers are now liberated, going back to real life and rejoining the workforce. At a personal level, I have found myself to having to set up strong boundaries with new and old acquaintances and individuals, as well as having to cut people off and ban them from my life. It's been more than traumatic. It is almost like sleepers in our lives have been focused and triggered to attack. People who were mostly keeping their evil intent and insecurities, their true colors, on the wraps, are now on the warpath. Not only that, but people who are awake and awakening can now see the real reasons and true intent of those sleepers. And they are finding it hard to excuse the sleepers' behaviors away. So, what do all these social and personal attacks, fear-mongering, war-ring havoc mean? And why now? We entered the present accelerated evolutionary location window in the universe about 200 years ago. The 1800s saw the first inkling of it. Our society and the lives of the most oppressed began to shift and change. You may think that there are plenty of places on the planet that life is still super hard for certain sections of the population. And that is true, but even there it is easier for them today than it was 200 years ago. The epicenter of that locational window is coming up on us now. We are inside the center and getting to the most dense point of the energy which exists here, which can be most accurately described as infinite potentiality. The epicenter is about 2 years long. After that, we go back to more stable, slow, and established reality. By pumping the alternative media and the main media with fear stories, doomsday stories, and end of the world or humanity stories, the people who want to keep a power over others game going on Earth are simply collecting their stock. Individuals who subscribe to all those stories and fall into fear, and those who become spiritually, emotionally, and mentally exhausted and give up on their own awakening, are simply cattle being duly guided back to their barn to be milked like good little cows. And what is the main indicator of who is being taken back to the barn and who is not? Well, even amongst the most spiritual of people, the ones that are going back are those who give their own power away. What does giving one's power away look like? Well, one way is to believe that the Savior of the universe is here, and he, she, they are making sure you are safe. Have you heard that lately? Yeah, just a line to the old paradigm where saviors were the only ones who could liberate eternal, divine, all-powerful beings from enslavement. Like an eternal, divine, powerful being could be enslaved. But people, when they start to wake up, still have powerful firewalls that tell them they are not as powerful or wise as another person or being. So there are light workers' traps out there that snare them in and keep them busy until the light worker gets wise or exhausted. If he or she gets wise, they step away from the dogma they were following and continue their journey in a more eclectic and self-guided way. If they get exhausted, they call all spiritual teachers cult leaders, go back to their church, job, and 9-to-5 metrics. But most don't even make it that far. Most people who are waking up get snared in the doomsday scenarios, stories, and whistleblowers. End of the world dates come and go over and over again. And whistleblowers, 45 top secret levels above the President of the USA, come and go, come and go. They say some interesting things to pull people in, then they go on a tangent. And what does this cause? Well, most individuals will at some point get tired of it all and go back to 9-to-5 lives. Others will realize that this age and time is about them taking responsibility for their own expansion of awareness, spiritual development, and move into the spiritual community. Most of these will then fall prey to people who are ready and waiting to take their power. People who have a unique and the only way or group of extra-dimensional beings that fixes everything or is the salvation of the individual and the planet. Because of all the many programs that human population has that makes them give away their power, most of these individuals will then fall into these traps and either spend the rest of their lives waiting to be saved or leave their spiritual journey because it is all a load of BS. But some make it, and if you're still reading this article, that means you. After that journey, or parts of it, the person realizes that they are powerful, that all they need to do is learn how to take back and use their own power, stop giving it away, and become highly eclectic in their self-guided spiritual and evolutionary education. The person has graduated to follow their own guidance. Now they can go out into the world and learn everything that resonates with them. Drop everything that doesn't and become powerful, able, and deprogrammed. The meaning of the word eclectic as an adjective means 1. Deriving ideas, style, or taste from a broad and diverse range of sources. For example, her musical tastes are eclectic. 2. Philosophy of, the notion or belonging to a class of ancient philosophers who did not belong to or found any recognized school of thought, but selected such doctrines as they wished from various schools. As a noun, the word eclectic means a person who derives ideas, style, or taste from a broad and diverse range of sources. Do you want to discuss this article in greater depth with Inelia and others? Then go to walkwithmenow.com. Thank you for listening and see you at walkwithmenow.com.